Okay, so this video is about staying loyal to your family. In a way, this is kind of a response to a post that was left by one of my supporters. He left a post on my blog called Beauty in the Fighting Systems. And then we have another supporter who left a comment, a very long comment about his thoughts on it. And, you know, reading through the comments, it just got me to think about certain things and wanted to share my perspective as far as seeing the other side of it. Like, the commenter is basically going in the direction of Bruce Lee, and obviously, you know, I really like Bruce Lee and I like Bruce Lee's teachings, but I see that if you just take it for what it is and you don't experience it yourself, it's not really your truth. Like, it's just basically you're just collecting information, regurgitating knowledge when you don't experience it yourself, and you claim it to be something that you understand, you know. But I see the downfall of Bruce Lee and what he encouraged is kind of like lack of loyalty and commitment. It's almost like the extreme version of it is just somebody who's just all about themselves. They're not for the family, but they're just about themselves. They just want to go jumping from school to school, teacher to teacher, with no loyalty to anybody and no foundation in anything, you know. And that ends up becoming very, you know, it's like a very lost existence in the martial arts to me, you know. I could see going that route and how it could be beneficial towards one's growth, but at the same time I could see how not everybody's meant to be like an entrepreneur, basically. So when you're studying under a school, somebody put effort to create that school and promote that school and have that school be shown to be a way. But if there's no people helping to promote that school, eventually that school's gonna die. And then you could just go ahead and do the same thing all over again and try to redo it yourself to make another school, to promote another way. And then you gather followers, and then you teach the followers to not promote your school, but then to promote their own school. And then your school dies, and then the cycle just repeats. There's no foundation to grow from. It doesn't lead towards anything. Like, it's just stuck at the same thing over and over again. It's like building a sandcastle that has no foundation. It just keeps getting washed away, you know. And what I mean by building a family is, like, you know, you have a family, like your children, your wife. You're building a foundation under a family name. Like, my name is the Lee family, so I'm building my family, having my children, having my wife. Now, my children are pretty much expected to stay loyal to their family, to promote the family's way. You know, not to essentially do their own thing and then all of a sudden change their last name, and then now they just kind of disown this family to promote another family. You know, so, you know, that's the difference between like the East and the West. Is like the West is like promoting the children to just move out, just get out of here. But the East is not like that. The East is more like, you're staying close to this family and you're gonna basically be here with me until I die, and then you carry on the family from there. So it's like a strong family is what creates opportunities. It's like you're bringing in hard work together as one, opposed to just everybody doing their separate things, and then everybody just has like no growth because nobody's working together. So basically it's like working on the Great Wall with a bunch of people, not just like yourself trying to build the Great Wall by yourself. But when you have a bunch of people working together towards one common purpose, then you can build something special like a Great Wall or any great project to begin with. So a school that lives on for many decades or centuries has to be built through a strong family, through a strong foundation. Without that, you can't just do it by yourself. So every single entrepreneur will need his followers to help build upon this person's ideas. But if this entrepreneur teaches all the people that's under him to just start their own business, then it just basically goes nowhere. Everybody just does their own thing. Nobody's working together, and there's no growth. So that's the difference. The West, it's all about, hey, pushing your kids off and doing their own thing. But in the East, it's more like, okay, we're gonna gather up our money, and we're gonna create a business, no matter what business it is, no matter if it's a martial arts school, no matter if it's a restaurant. Okay, we create this restaurant. Okay, and I have 5 children. Each one of my 5 kids are gonna work in that restaurant to build that restaurant to become successful. And their children are gonna work for the restaurant as well. And then they're gonna build it to be successful. And if it becomes successful enough, then it might create a chain, another restaurant under the same name to promote the same restaurant, building upon that success. Is when you hire outsiders outside of the family name is when there could be issues, because then there's lack of loyalty, lack of trust, because you're talking about somebody who's not a part of the family, but is basically somebody who might sue the family, might steal the ideas from the family and then create his own restaurant business, or might steal from the family, or might be just very much disloyal to the family, or uncommitted to the point where, they just work for a little bit and then they leave. And you just wasted all your time training this person from the outside to come inside to learn the ropes of the business, and then they don't even appreciate it. They just drop the job right away as soon as they get another job that pays more. So it's like the Western mentality is all about just jumping from job to job to job. As long as they're getting paid more, or if they're unhappy, then they just leave. So it's like there's never any type of loyalty, never any type of a commitment. So it's like a waste of a teacher's time to even invest their time in these outsiders of whom have no loyalty, no commitment. As far as going beyond the teacher, the student is never supposed to go beyond the teacher, because if the teacher is always learning every single day, he's always going to be at a higher progression than the student, because the teacher is working, he's expressing himself full time. The student doesn't have full time. The student might be involved in work or school. They can't dedicate all their time to the progression of the arts, because their life is consumed with other areas, and the teacher is always growing. So as the student grows, the teacher grows. Student grows, teacher grows. So then the student basically never catches up. So if the student never catches up, there's absolutely no reason for the student to even leave the school. And even if the student thinks that he knows so much, there's also easily available finding more information, more knowledge from other sources, from books and from media, to contribute towards the growth of the school. There's no need to leave the school to go to another school and then leaving this school behind so then you can learn more. It's essentially like gathering intelligence for a country, but you know who your real country is. Everybody has their country that they're from, and then there's going to be people who's going to be in a way kind of traitors to one country in order to fight for another country, pretend like they're fighting for one country, but then in actuality they're on the side of another country. So you got somebody like this whole terrorist thing that's going on in California. They're saying that this woman was pledging allegiance to this ISIS, and she's living in America, but she's really on their side. She's not even on America's side. So basically, in any martial arts school, the school teacher has to identify who are the false students and who are the real students. The false students are not the ones that are really going to be taught the essence of the school in which to help promote the school, because they're not really there for the long run, or their heart is not with the school. Their heart is with themselves. They're gathering intelligence for themselves so that essentially they could start their own business. And no, for me, when a martial arts student or a martial arts teacher is able to identify that this student is not for the school, but he's for himself, then he will know that this person will have restricted access to the inner teachings of the school. Just like in any business, like in any company, you got the people that are the managers of the company that come together for meetings that all employees don't come to. There's the baseline employees like the cashiers and just the basic people, but then there's the managers that come together to really make the decisions, and those group of people is going to be separated from the majority of the others. So that's what I see. I mean, like Bruce Lee's teachings, I had been inspired by, and influenced by his ways, but at this point in my life, I see the other side, and basically I see the other side of it, and everybody's life is going to be different, as far as their level of development in their expression of the martial arts, and everybody's going to be different in their path and how, where they're at. But it's clearly different for me because I have an actual school where it's not just a YouTube channel, it's not just a Facebook page, it's not just teaching out of my basement, it's not just teaching people here and there. No, this is a real school, a real business where this is my livelihood, and I'm meeting people from the streets, I'm meeting people from the internet, I have my own family, my own children, I'm teaching different people, and I'm establishing a new way. And upon establishing this new way, the right students have to be identified to be the ones that are really going to be there for the school and its development, opposed to just for themselves. And Bruce Lee's teaching is pretty much saying, okay, it's just all about me. Me. It's not about the family, it's just about me, and whatever helps my growth is what is important to me. And okay, if that's the case, then this person will be maybe just a fitness client or just a one-on-one teaching, where if it's all about you, then it's a private lesson and you pay me for my time to show you, to show you what you want to learn. But you're not representing this school. You're not representing this way. And as far as like the business secrets are concerned, you're not going to be taught that because you're not on this side. You're for yourself. So the American way is more like, hey, let me just work for this company. Oh, I'm not getting paid enough, let me go work for another company. Oh, this other company, I'm not happy, so I'm going to work for another company. No, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about right here, you're working for your family. And it doesn't matter how much money another company is willing to pay you. You're here for your family business. No matter if it's the dry cleaners, no matter if it's the restaurant, no matter if it's a martial arts school. You're here for your family business. Your parents are the bosses, and then you're working with them to grow this business. As you grow this business, then you might have children of your own, and then they get hired into the business, and then they promote the business. And the business just keeps being promoted for decades, and to the point where it becomes very successful. And now, no company out there will ever pay you as much as you're making from your own family business, because your family business is making an immense amount of money through the decades of hard work. And now there's a bunch of outsiders that want to work for your family. But you're not hiring them in because they can't be trusted. They're not loyal. They're not committed. Or maybe you hire just a few that aren't of the blood to help, and they got to prove themselves through time, through commitment, through hard work, that they're actually here for the family, for this business, and not just for themselves. And I've encountered so many people out there that I've trained where it's just all about them. And when I recognize that, then I know they're not fit for this. They're not fit for this type of martial arts school. You know, I mean, if they are in the training, then they're identified, you know, these are not the individuals that are going to really help promote the school out of their hearts, because it's not in their hearts. It's in their hearts to promote themselves. They're going to use the school for what they can get from the school, so they could pretty much essentially make money or start their own business from exploiting the things that they've taken from that school. So no company will like that. You know, when you're working for some company and they're paying you, they're training you, and then you take everything that you learned and you create your own company. Or you take everything you learned and you go to another company. No company is going to like that. So every company is going to be very protective of whom they train to get to a high level within that company. If they sense any type of disloyalty or where your heart is not with that company, then they know where to stop you. You know, and my mentality is completely different because I actually own a school, and that is my livelihood. And I train in the martial arts. And it's not the same as just everybody. It's not just the same as just anybody who's just training as a hobby. You're not making money from the martial arts or teaching. You're just training on the side as a hobby. There's a completely different mentality, a different perspective. And it's like, that's another reason why maybe some of these Chinese systems like Wing Chun is like, you know, we're not teaching any outsiders, because they're not a part of this family. They're not going to promote this family. They're going to take what they want, and then they're going to do what they want to do with it, and then they're just going to exploit the teachings. They're going to abuse their powers. They're going to steal our ways, profit from our ideas. And it's just like what everybody's doing online already. Somebody creates a certain musical piece, somebody steals that, uses it to make money from it. You know, you create a video, somebody steals your video, posts it up somewhere else, they make money from it. Somebody reads one book, copies exactly what he just read, plagiarizes it, makes money off of it, steals it. So that's essentially what is going on. And as a school owner, it has to be stopped. You know, so the ways of what Bruce was teaching, there's many downfalls to that, depending on which angle that you look at it from. And essentially, truth cannot be set in stone. So what was true for Bruce during that time is not necessarily true for this time. Things change. And of course, you know, I love Bruce Lee and his teachings, but this is not the same time. It's over 40 years later. Nothing stays the same. Things change. So Bruce's way, according to my eyes, is not the way for today. The way for today is something different.